Start recording. All right, welcome to the second half of our Zoom meeting trainings today. We're going to be focusing on communication, which sounds so fun, huh? But it's going to be cool. We're going to be talking about the communication devices that assistant guides and lead guides are going to be using this year. So all the assistant guides are going to get one of these. This is a Motorola T100, top of the line at like $15. It's run by 3 AAA batteries. The range online says 16 miles, but I think that's 16 miles of Kansas prairie. And likely we're going to have a half-mile to 2-mile range at best, depending on mountains and how things are going to be going. So just keep that in mind. But we do want to have every assistant guide is going to get one of these at the beginning of every event, just because they come in so handy. Oh my gosh, when we don't bring these, we really regret it. So especially your lead guide's going to have one, and every assistant guide throughout the group. And then of course your last guide, the sweeper guide, and your medic guide, everyone's going to have walkie-talkies. So we can just communicate, especially if we've got a larger group. And you've got, say like you've got an injury that you need to report to everybody, or my group is really slow, we're gonna hang back here, or we've got to turn around, we're doing an out and back, and they're like, you know what, my group's kind of slow, we're gonna turn around and head back to trailhead. There's a million reasons that you could use the walkie-talkie and want to be, to keep people safe. So that being said, okay, we're gonna talk about emergency communication at the end, like what to say on emergency communication. But essentially these walkie-talkies, I just kind of wanted to show this. I couldn't find a good video online, ironically. So this is our video. These are our walkie-talkies. You're just gonna first make sure that they have batteries in them. These ones clip. The clip comes off. So whether you want to clip that onto your backpack or put it in your pocket, I don't care. And then this little clip, this thing goes up, and then you've got your batteries in there. We'll make sure they're all charged. But we'll try and make sure we also have extra AAAs also available, because that always sucks when these run out. Okay, so what you're gonna first do is you're gonna just turn it on, and it's gonna bleep on, and you're gonna get a number. This number is your channel number. These are really simple and they're so confusing. So the way to tell whether when you start pushing on these plus and minuses buttons that I'm changing my channels or I'm changing the volume, which are your only 2 options, is that if it's a number from 1 to 22, those are your channels. If it's from 1 to 7, it's your volume. And as you start increasing, you'll notice that the volume gets louder. So the way to set things is pushing this button, which is also the button you use to talk. So we're on channel 18. I'm going to go ahead and when I push the negative button, it takes me to 1, which means now it thinks we're on volume. So I can go from 1 to, so you can tell, obviously that's our volume. So you're like, okay, all right. So I'm going to change my volume to 2. I set that with my thumb, and we should be good to go with that. If I want to change my channel, these are actually all going to be preset. We'll double check at the beginning of every trip that everyone's on the same channel, obviously. But we want to make sure everyone's on the same channel. If you have to change your channel, you do the same thing with the plus and the minuses. Let's see. Sorry, you have to push the power button, and then that changes, let me change the channel. All right, so we're gonna get to channel 15. I want to set it. I push this button in, and now it's set. Anyway, I would honestly, when you get these, just play with them while you're on the hike and be like, okay, great, I'm on the right channel, I've got the volume, all that sort of stuff. But it's not rocket science. That's about all the only features you're gonna have on these walkie-talkies. Now, as far as communication, there's some tricks to communicating. If you guys have used walkie-talkies before, you want to push your talking button in and wait 2 seconds and then start to talk. Does that make sense? A lot of people start talking and then push the button, and then we have no idea what you just said. We only hear the last like 3 words. So push it down, 2 seconds, and then start talking. You want to say your name. You want to say what's going on. if you have any problems or anything like that. And then if somebody, and then when you're done communicating, you stop, wait 2 seconds, and then release the button. Does that make sense? If someone contacts you, so you ask a question, someone responds back to you, then you want to do the same thing and say, you can say, Roger, you can say, okay, so you said blah, 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 and repeat that. Repeating is also a really good way of communicating. So that makes sure we know that you got the communication. So, you know, say like, Erin, I say, okay, this is Emily. I've got a gal that's got a sick tummy. She just wants to sit down and drink some water. We're going to be about 10 minutes late getting to the next trail juncture. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up. And then I get a response from maybe like the lead guide, Erin, and she's like, okay, so I heard that you got so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. You guys are going to wait and blah, blah, blah. You know, we'll see you in 10 minutes. And then I'll say confirm, or whatever you want to say. Okay, Roger that. Got it. You know, so we just want to make sure we have two if you send a communication out, you need to get a communication back. And that's how we know that we, that we're all on the same page. Anyway, so, yeah, that's it for these guys. All right, so assistant guides get those. Now lead guides are all going to get these handy devils as well in addition. So this is our new Inreach Garmin. So Garmin's the company, and this is the Inreach Mini. You can see they're cute and small compared. So we only have one of these for our company. We have access to a few others through other amazing women who've also purchased these. But essentially all we're going to be using is for every trip, we're going to have one lead guide, and that lead guide is going to have one of these. The beacon, these Inreach beacons, they've all four of our lead guides have all been trained on this. Oh my gosh. Apparently someone's on our other walkie-talkie channel. Okay. So they've all been trained in this just for you guys as assistant guides to know, because on some of these snowshoe trips, we might give this to you anyway, so you can just have this with you. The things that you're going to need to know are, one, charge it before you go on your trip. These are the things to do before. There is a little, I flip this down. There's a little charging port. This is the Android charge. If you have an Android phone, it's the same charging port. It comes with one that sticks into the car, or you can use your own, but make sure this is charged before your trip. We've had this, all the things I'm telling you are problems we've already had. So make sure you do that. Also, make sure on your cell phone, you get the app. It's called EarthMate. And we'll send you more information. Anyone that's going to be using this will know that, but it's called EarthMate, M-A-T-E. It's run by Garmin, and essentially it's the cell phone interface that works with this. So it's a fantastic option to use with this. It's how with the EarthMate app on your phone, you can use, this will transmit to your phone and you can track where you're going, like in real time on waypoints and all that kind of stuff. You can also send messages from your phone through this device. And I'll kind of talk about that in a second. But yeah, EarthMate is the app. So make sure you get that. And then you want to sync your phone with this by Bluetooth before you go on your trip. Don't do it at the trailhead when there's no reception. We've done that. That didn't work at all. So make sure you're synced before. If you're going to be having one of these, we will get your spouse if they are okay with that, or one of our spouses is going to be our base command, essentially. And so their number is programmed in here. So when we want to send out messages, we can send it to them. And so they'd be the ones getting our responses like, hey, we're running a little late. Hey, we had to call us, you know, emergency, blah, blah, blah. There's somebody on the other end that's in our group, you know, that it's at home that has all the information and getting all the information. Anyway, so just so you know, the messages that the thing that this can do is, number one, there's the SOS button. That's really what we want it for, of course. This SOS button, you just push and hold it. It will take you, we haven't done this one yet, but essentially it's going to take you to Garmin's emergency network system, and they have someone that's going to communicate with us, and we bought the plan that allows two-way communication. This device allows two-way texting through this device or with your phone with emergency service. So it's not just like I push the button and then we hope somebody comes in the next day, you know, to find us. We push this button and we're actually communicating. We'll be like, okay, we've got someone who's got a sprained ankle or a broken leg, and they're going to need a helicopter evacuation. You know, this is kind of what's going on. We can communicate back and forth. They're like, okay, someone's coming, blah, blah, blah. You have to wait this long, blah, blah. Anyway, just know that there's two-way communication with the SOS button, and that's pretty cool. What we're also going to be having our guides do is there are preset messages on here, and we'll show you how to do that. But what will happen is you get to the trailhead and you send the first preset message in here, and it says, we're doing good, we're hiking. Let me see what it says, actually. I can't remember. It says send preset. Let's see, hold on. We click OK, send preset. Emily needs to know how to use her. It says just checking in, everything's okay. So that's going to be our default preset. And what you do is you're going to send that to base command at the trailhead. And then we are going to do it every 30 minutes to an hour throughout our activity, depending on how long the activity is, just so base command can actually track us in live time where we are. And then when we're done, there's a preset message that says we're done. All these preset messages are free as part of our plan. So we can send as many of those as we want. That's the way we're going to track. This device has a way to do GPS waypoints and tracking and all that kind of stuff. That costs extra money, so we're not going to do those. We have just found out that we just send these preset text messages at certain times, intervals, then we can be tracked. And the person who's receiving, what it looks like on the receiving end, whoever our base command is, it's sending it to their cell phone. Their cell phone will give them a text. You've got a text, and it'll have a little thing that will show our message and a GPS point, and they can click on that GPS point and see exactly where we are. So this is how we're going to be using these beacons for this year. Mostly it's just going to be tracking, and the base command can see where we are. There are messages in there that we have set up in the phone or into our beacon. If we are running late, if we have a minor injury, if we have a major injury, if we had to call for help, if we're getting someone evacuated, all these things are preset in there, and you can scroll through and just send them right to base command. Those extra messages I'm talking about will cost about 50 cents each, but if we're having an emergency, we don't care. So, and then base command will know from what we're communicating, whether they need to be contacting all the ladies in our group just to tell their families, hey, they're running 2 hours late. They had, you know, someone hurt themselves, or, you know, they've just been delayed. Or if the ladies are able to, you know, if they're able to communicate with their families themselves, everyone texted their family, we can just let base command know, hey, we're running 2 hours late, but everyone was able to contact their families. You do not need to call. But anyway, that's kind of what we're going to be using the beacon for going forward. The lead guides are going to use it for SOS, and then keeping track with our base command of our location, and then base command can notify everyone's emergency contacts if we had an incident. Whew. All right. If you're going to be using these, the beacon especially, we have a little training we'll give you. So anyway, and then as far as I promised you, we talk about emergency communication. If you have to communicate with anybody regarding an emergency situation, whether this is on your cell phone, on the walkie-talkie, I don't know why you would be doing that, or on our beacon over the SOS channel, or even with base command, you need to do it in a certain format, just for people's privacy and efficiency. So what you're going to do first thing is let them know who you are, where you are exactly. If you've got a GPS point, that's even better. What you need. Oh, and the patient's injury, person injury, what you need, and then what you're planning on doing in the meantime. So what this looks like is, hi, I'm Jane Backpacker. I'm at Red Bear Lake in the Lost Wild Mountains at blah, 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 156543 West, 404532 North. Those are GPS waypoints, by the way. I have a 24-year-old female with a broken femur, so we don't say names, but we do say ages, gender, and what's happened to them. The patient is splinted, so that's what we did. They're in mild shock, that's kind of how their condition is. We need a helicopter evacuation, so that's what we need. And then we plan to stay at this location until help arrives. Got it? This is all written up in the plan, or the notes for this activity. this Zoom meeting. So you can read through that, but that's the basic thing. So who you are, where you are, who the person is and what their injury is, what you've done and what they need, and where you plan on doing in the meantime. Anyway, blah. This is a lot better than just screaming, going, oh my gosh, this is bleeding and there's stuff, and blah, 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 blah. That's what we're gonna have. All right. So that's the end of communication. I just wanted to do a little blurb at the last little bit. We have made first aid cards, first aid skill cards for every activity we're going to be doing this year. So these are going to be used mostly by the lead guides, but those of you guys who are assistant guides and you're going to be doing hiking and snowshoeing, you're going to get the same card to use as well. So what it looks like is, I don't know, you probably can't see this, but there's a copy of it on the notes. But the top half of the paper is going to be the activity. So this is just hiking, and it goes through all the stuff that we need to talk about before we do our hike, safety stuff. So we're going to be checking temperatures of the guides. So before the activity, this is all the stuff we're going to be doing with our guides, checking their temperature, checking the gear, checking first aid kits, checking walkie-talkies, blah, blah. All right, next, welcome the participants, check their temperatures, tell them about the activity, make sure they're drinking and packed on all the other stuff, and they've got hydration, sunscreen, blah, blah, blah. Talk about the things that are going to be going on. Watch out for acute mountain sickness, hypothermia, blah, blah, blah. Number 3, we're going to review the emergency procedures. So if we're late, this is what we're going to do. We'll notify base command, and you guys let your families know, or not, depending on reception. If there's someone who's lost, we find out where they were last seen. We started search and rescue, and there's little skills and stuff on that. If someone's hurt, we do this, and if it's a major thing or a minor thing, then we'll also have evacuation numbers on here. So say like the local National Park Service number, we're going to have that on there because they might be able to help us sooner than some person with search and rescue in some other county or something. Then after we've kind of talked to them about safety and things, we're going to do some stretching for 5 minutes. And I've included some cool stretches for every activity. Then we're going to check gear and make sure everyone's gear is okay and safe. Then we're going to demo any skills that are going to be going on, that we're going to, whether we're hiking or kayaking or anything like that. And then we'll divide into our groups with our assistant guides. Wow. Okay. Don't memorize that. It's all written here, just so you know. It kind of helps you remember, okay, now we do this thing, now we do this thing. It's a way to keep everything easier for you guys, so make sure we don't miss anything and we keep people safe. The second half of this card is going to be first aid stuff, and it's all the basic stuff. It's got CPR stuff, unconscious causes for unconsciousness, traumatic brain injury signs and symptoms, shock, spinal assessments, bleeding, pain, normal vital signs, blah, 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 all way more than you ever wanted. So this is just, we're going to just fold this in half, and one half will be the skill, one half will be the first aid. We're going to print them on orange cardstock and have it laminated. That's going to be in every first aid pack of the guide who's doing the leading of that activity. So hopefully that was a fire hose of fun, but hopefully we'll get going in this and you guys will get the groove, and it'll make way more sense later. And the biggest thing is that we're going to do whatever we can to keep these women safe, and that we will have fun. And all this stuff is just the framework to keep, hopefully once our framework's in place, if something ever happens, it's not a big deal. We can take care of things fast and move forward and continue our activity or get people where they need to be so they're safe, and we can keep doing this forever. All right. Does anyone have any questions on this training? If you do, just speak up now. All right, Lisa, I've got a thumbs up. Erica and Erin, are you guys good?
I think we just need to handle them. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. This is kind of like the first, okay, this is what it looks like. These are where the buttons are. Then we'll give it to you. Run around and play with it. These first few months are going to be hard, kind of figuring everything else, but then you're going to get so bored, and this will be great. So yeah, not a big deal. Erin, how are you doing? You look like you're out of it. She looks sleepy. All right, cool. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me on this second training, and we look forward to playing with you ladies super soon. Have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you later.